So this is my weekly reminder to you clowns, what you did to this community, the children that you abused, what you did to my life. You know, it's interesting. When you don't have anything, when everything's been taken from you, you sit around a lot thinking about how I'm gonna get payback. And that's what I've been thinking about, payback. Now, I know you weakling lefties are thinking, of course, it's violence that I'm talking about. That's because you underestimate us, in the words of George W. Bush. You underestimate us. The only thing we're capable is violence, huh? There's nothing else that I could do to get back at you, is there? Just violence, right? Keep underestimating me. I'm patient and I'm persistent and I'm pissed off at your guys' bullshit.
Michael, this is an opportunity for you to provide your comments, but it is not a time for back and forth questions.
So this is where it would be better if we treated the consent items like consent items and not like public comment. The little backhanded stuff that you do to citizens.
You ever have that feeling where you're not sure if you're awake or still dreaming?
Okay, with that, we will move on to general public comment. I only see that one person signed up. Justin, you can go ahead and come up and give your public comment.
How many times we got to go over this, Shannon? It's Dr. Justin Spees. I worked hard for that, so thank you. Dr. Justin Spees, I have a PhD in lifespan human development, a master's in marriage and family therapy, both from Kansas State, and I have a bachelor's in addiction counseling from Washburn. I taught as an assistant professor at Washburn in the Family and Human Services Department for 6 years. I was a licensed marriage and family therapist, a licensed master addiction counselor here in Kansas through the BSRB, and have worked as both in the past. I was a board member of the BSRB Addiction Counseling Subcommittee and served as a secretary for the SDA Care Center Board here in Lawrence, where prior to that, I worked as a child therapist for children who had been sexually abused. I served in the United States Navy submarine service from 2000 to 2009 on the fast attack submarine USS Springfield at Groton, Connecticut. When I got out of the Navy in 2009, I was a first-class petty officer. I'm now running for the Douglas County District 1 Commissioner seat, currently held by Patrick Kelly. So I've got a question for you three here this evening. Back in September, I was attacked, assaulted, battered, and stolen from while I was protesting child mask mandates outside of Sunset Hill Elementary here in town. I was standing on the corner minding my business when a car pulled up out of nowhere, parked illegally in the school zone crosswalk during school drop-off hours, hopped out his car, walked up to me and unprovoked took my signs out of my hand and attempted to swing the sign at me. The entire incident was caught on a neighbor's security camera across the street, and KCTV5 out of Kansas City ran a news report on it and everything. You can go check it out yourself. You know how many times since that day I was attacked that I've been contacted by police, detectives, a DA, anyone to follow up on that? Zero. Shannon, portfolio? You guys are big into names, right? You can't call me Dr. Justin Spees, and I'm expected to what? Follow you guys' rules, say your guys' names, right? I want to know why no one has even asked me a question about what happened that incident. Why?
We don't respond to public comment.
You don't respond public, any email, you don't respond at all, man. You don't respond at all. Who will you respond to? Who will you respond to? We're about to find out, because you got some responding to do, man. You cannot be attacked in the street and have it caught like that and nothing
Your
happens.
time is up. Have a good evening.
Dr. Justice Peace. My campaign slogan is "Fuck these child abusing motherfuckers." That's what they.
Please come forward. Thank you. Please come forward. Thank you.
My name is Michael. I'm Lawrence Accountability. I'm not here to take up Justin's cause, Dr. Spees. My role here is to support the First Amendment and to support the people's right to redress their government. And when I hear things in the instructions that microphones will be muted because of the use of a vulgarity, you can threaten to stop public comment altogether. But I'm pretty sure the citizens of this county would see that as a bad move on part of the commission. And I would challenge that that's not the right move to make. I would just ask that this commission follows the US Constitution and allows free and public airing of grievances, no matter how those grievances come. And I would also ask that the commissioners just provide the citizens the respect they deserve by listening and paying attention when they speak. I've seen that happening. And I can say tonight, Ms. Portillo, that I didn't see you really engaging that much. I saw you typing on your computer like he said the other day. I'm not here to defend him. I'm just telling you what I saw. Thank you. Have a good night.
Is there anybody online that would like to make public comment? Okay.
I just wanted to speak real quick on the First Amendment. The Kansas Open Meetings Act prescribes time, place, and manner. And that's the only limitations that it's able to put on it. Manner is included in our Kansas statutes. That's covered under disorderly conduct. It's covered under threats. It's covered under harassment. There's several other codes that it would be covered under. So the manner in which somebody gives public comment, until it rises to a criminal aspect, it remains under the First Amendment. And I'm not here to support Justin, but I'm here because it may not be just him next time. It may be your parents that are in here mad about something. It may be you 5 years from now after you're done serving on this commission, who's fired up about something, who's been offended so bad that you come in here ramped up and you want to be heard. When we start down the path of closing free speech, we've seen where it ends. It always ends in revolution, and you can't do that. I sent an email to you guys, and I talked about the type of public debate that this country has been used to. We've had beatings with canes on the Senate floor over laws being passed to govern this country. We've had duels on hillsides outside of Washington. I don't think it would be right to honor those men by shutting down. It's free speech. We need to go back and we need to look at the manner aspect of the Kansas Open Meetings Act. And I have a lot of confidence that the sheriff deputies in this room can handle that. I had a short conversation with Deputy Chavez, and there's a big difference between the sheriff deputies and the Lawrence Police Department, and we've identified it. When deputies come on board, do you guys know where they start? They start in the jail. They learn how to de-escalate before they ever see the streets. That's a testament to how the sheriff department operates. And that's something that I'm actually tossing around suggesting that maybe we start rotating LPD through the jail and let them learn how to de-escalate without the ability to shoot somebody, without the ability to beat somebody up. I think that'd be a great thing. But I do want to encourage you guys to go back and analyze the manner aspects of this. Thank you.
There's a lot going to happen here. You're going to see the deputy get involved at the direction of a staff member to handle the sign at the bottom of your screen that hurts their feelings. If you listen to what's being said in the background, though, you're going to hear the instructions for public comment being read by a county commissioner. If you listen carefully, you're going to find that YouTube content policies are now helping to dictate how the county handles public comment in a quintessential public forum.
I do have some instructions for public comment to get us started. Before I read through those, just want to briefly address that last week's it was 2 weeks ago now, which would have been, the date is escaping me, July 6th, I believe. Our meeting had been uploaded, our recorded meeting had been uploaded onto YouTube and was removed by YouTube for violation of their content policies by the next day. It is now available again after our staff went through an appeal process and communicated further with YouTube. But just wanted to put that on the record and note that we've updated our comments, our instructions for general public comment a bit about that. And also just want to give space if either commissioners have any thing to add to that or any details that I may have missed from discussions with staff. Okay. So I will just offer some instructions for public comment before we kick off our meeting. Each action item on the agenda will offer an opportunity for relevant public comment about that topic. We ask that you wait until the agenda item that you're here for comes up for discussion. Additionally, near the start of our meeting, we will invite folks to provide general public comment to the commission, which is a time for addressing issues not on today's agenda, but related to general county business. Just making sure that we didn't have any issues with it doesn't work. The box for sharing for a moment. Sorry for the interruption.
I'm asking nicely, why you gotta be a jerk about breaking the rules?
All public comments should be directed to the county commission. The public should also note that comments received by the commission during our meetings do not represent the views of the county government.
Make a big deal out of it.
And if deemed to be necessary in the future, we may direct staff to not record public comments out of concern for YouTube's content policies. The goal being that all meetings remain as accessible as possible to our public.
There's two of us in the room. My name's Michael Lawrence, Accountability. I didn't address this last week because I didn't have the full story. As I came in the room last week, there was a commotion happening at the front here.
For addressing issues not on today's agenda, but related to general county business. Just making sure that we didn't have any.
As I got out my camera and start to film that commotion, suddenly it ended.
Do not represent the views of the county government.
Make a big deal out of it.
And if deemed
What I found out that ended up happening there, this is the second time that I personally have witnessed leaders in this county putting our deputies in untenable positions, asking them to enforce laws that they cannot enforce. Somebody in this room sent a deputy to the front rail to move a sign or to expect that a citizen would move a sign. It's a violation. You can't do that. He didn't have to move his sign. That same deputy at one point was sent out to the law enforcement center out front here to arrest me one night because I was out there with a camera. We hope that you guys were kind of hoping things would change here too.
I mean, I'm hoping things do change, but per the order of the sheriff, that's what we were told to do.
Okay.
So you're telling me we're being trespassed off of public property?
Being trespassed from the courthouse property, yes.
This is public property, you're aware of that, correct?
Yes, you can be on public property if you have a legal reason to be here. Okay, and if you don't have a legal reason to be here at the courthouse, then you don't need to be on the property. They're doing a mission, you're a trespass warning, per authority of the sheriff.
This county is extremely lucky that our deputies know the laws better than their leaders do. Because the Lawrence Police Department would follow through with those acts and get themselves into trouble. That's what we've seen.
Video all you want, get everything you can. That's what I'm doing, so I expect you to do the same. Do you need something? Because you know, what I'm working on, see, is getting this to legal, see if we can get harassment, stalking, anything that's arrestable would be a good idea. You think that would be a good idea? I think it'd be wonderful. And then we could help each other out.
So I'm going to ask that this county reevaluate what they're directing these deputies to do. And I'm talking about the Douglas County Sheriff Department leadership as well. I've lodged a complaint with the department this week about 2 members of their brass over the way things were handled. And I've now been given emails that show this. There was a colluded effort between LPD and Douglas County to violate civil rights. And they involved deputies in that scheme to do that. And fortunately for us, those deputies knew what they were about to do couldn't happen legally. And they refrained from doing that. And they're probably one of the few law enforcement officers that I've ever had somewhat of a negative interaction with that I continue to praise to this day because they knew the law. The person that asked them to do that in here needs to be taught what our rights are. And anybody that has an ability to direct these deputies to do something needs to understand what our rights are and what the limitations of what you can ask those deputies to do.
Michael?
I hope you guys can tell by now why I'm here. It's all about the freedom to speak. And I want to thank you guys because in a few short weeks, we've been able to remove that little nonsense about the YouTube platform from your public comment instructions. And I appreciate that because YouTube has no place in a public meeting that's held by elected officials. And implying that they have some place there is just kind of messed up. So I thank you for doing that. Now I'm going to challenge you to go a little bit further though. The Olathe School Board in Johnson County has made the move to remove this nonsense about vulgarity and obscenities. Because when you open a public forum, as you do here, it becomes a free speech right to be able to say those words. And I appreciate you not shutting down the few that have already happened, but George Carlin, many years ago, one of the most honored comedians in this country, received Kennedy honors before he died, had a list of 7 words that were just strictly banned by all the feeling people. I believe they were shit, piss, cunt, fuck, motherfucker, cocksucker, and tits. Now, my point with this is those words, even though you may not like them, and I see you're about ready to speak, even though you may not like them, they are acceptable free speech. Just the same as in the article that came out talking about the baseball game, the softball game, where Brandon McAnderson and several Adasia Brooks was there. And my wife and other people handled that very well. I saw that Brandon Eisman had posted something online and called for donations because they didn't like Justin's sign. But what I told my wife, who donated to that fund with my blessing, what I told her was that that's freedom both directions. He has the right to be out there saying those words and saying whatever he feels like saying. At the same time, we, the people that disagree with him, have the right to go out and make our donations to support causes that are in opposition to that, which is what we do. But we don't walk out and arrest somebody or throw them out of businesses or spit on them, pull guns on them, this kind of stuff, just because we don't like what they say. That's taken the idea of speech and your freedoms into somebody else's privacy and their personal space. All for words. Words. They're just words. Just words. I know you're upset with me right now. They're just words. They're just words. You see, here's the thing. They don't know how the public comment works. Number one, we don't have to sign up. It's open to the public. They have shut down public comment basically by shut down the recording. Some of you out there may believe what they're telling. Some of you out there may believe I can make my public comment the way I'm making it. Don't interrupt me again. This is my 3 minutes. And that's another thing that we don't understand in this county is that when the public has the right to speak, they have the right to speak. They called, the British called our founding fathers rebels because they stood for principles that weren't popular, but were right. This county has chosen to not record public comment because they are claiming that public comment is what caused the YouTube video to be pulled down. I'm here to tell you 2 facts. When I laid out George Carlin's 7 deadly words, it wasn't a problem on my page to have motherfucker on the page. And the video is still up and it's being monetized. When another person went into the city commission and talked about the Nuremberg codes, this commission wants to blame it on her or me, but that's funny because the video from the city is still up on YouTube. So they're going to blame the taking down of public comment on the citizens when those citizens' public comments are on 2 other channels on YouTube. So I'm going to throw it back to the commission that there's a bigger problem. And I offered Sarah Plinsky, and I have the emails to prove it. I offered her and I offered Miss Britt some assistance with their YouTube issues, because I am a YouTube creator and a part of the YouTube creator program. I do have access to get some help with these issues. They won't even talk to me about it. My goal is to put public comment back online as it was, but they won't even address it with me because I'm who I am. One day, it's going to be somebody up here, one of you guys, and they don't like what you're saying. Extremism is only extreme when the public decides it is. Now, are expressing your rights really an extreme view? Is it? It's not. And this county has chosen to censor public comment because they are going to not record this public comment, and they are going to record later public comment. That's an inconsistency in their rules. The second thing is that when you establish a record, COMA laws require that record to be complete. You can't establish a partial record, which is what this county is doing. It's called curating the record, and it's illegal. This county is trying to charge me $25 for an audio recording that they recorded already, that they're claiming that I have to pay for the time to it be recorded. I have to pay for the time. Since it's not being recorded, I'm just going to keep on going. I have to pay. They tried to charge me $50 for it, and then when I called them out on the 50, they decided that it was only 25, when it's actually just a point and click. All they have to do is point a mouse and click a button to send the file. But they're going to charge $25 for that at a time where they're raising taxes by 20%. By 20, you're raising taxes on us and you're shutting us down. Public comment doesn't get put out. Go ahead and ask me one more time. Go ahead. I'll let. Yeah. No, it's for you. There's a reason the state passed a law to mandate these meetings, and this is the reason.
What a shame the community won't hear that beautiful speech.
The state passed a law to mandate these meetings.
I'm curious if you're writing your journal or, I mean, you're sitting for writing, you're not looking and giving these people your attention. My name is Amy. Thank you.
They're forced to have this open public meeting, but they're not going to let your words be heard. Those numbers up there, guys. That's a double-digit increase this year.
If you do it one more time, I will ask that fees to escort you out of the building. So this year, Kansas legislature required that every taxing jurisdiction, except themselves, prepare revenue neutral rates and send them to all jurisdictions, all property taxes, property owners in a particular county. So there's a lot of confusion sometimes on what revenue neutral rate is.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and disrupt the meeting, and you can throw me out because I'm tired of hearing them talk about confusion. The citizens are not as confused as you think we are. We understand double-digit tax increases, and we understand double-digit mill levy increases. And this taxation that you're doing is wrong. I'll leave.
I do think it's county, cities, and school districts are required to actually. They were, okay, so cities and, for sure.
I can't speak for him.
Was there a reason that needed to be said, though, really?
Can't speak for him is the thing.
I understand you can't speak for him, but that did nothing but add, right?
Yeah.
So what's the purpose of trying to escalate like that?
There isn't one.
Are you going to file the complaint?
I think it's probably best if you do it.
Mm-hmm. Because the problem I have here is that that's the kind of shit that you guys use to get Justin in cuffs every fucking time. Shit like that gets said that gets stuff ramped up. And it's not worth it.
Yeah.
So what was
Yes.
the point of that? You're his partner,
I'm his coworker.
co-worker? Do we have a sergeant or somebody higher here?
No, he is the officer in charge at this point.
That's the officer in charge?
Yes, sir.
That would escalate like that?
So, best I can do, I mean, have you ever talked to Lieutenant Qualls before?
I've talked to Qualls, I've talked to
Yeah.
Grins, I'm having emails with Armbruster.
So you have the,
But the
you
problem
have their
is,
contact info?
the problem is if that's the officer in charge here and he's gonna talk smack like that, that makes me question of what he's doing here. Why isn't he somewhere else? Because that's how that man in there right now that's speaking ended up in cuffs so many times. Because they escalate.
Yeah.
They created something that wasn't necessary. And I know this. Maybe you know it, maybe you're just agreeing with me, but they know it as well.
I honestly, I haven't done a county commission meeting, so this is the first time I've ever seen
What
this
happens
done.
in here is shit like that happens when you've got somebody that's upset about taxes.
Yeah.
And then you got a smart ass deputy that wants to lip off and talk about interrupting the meeting. You damn right I interrupted the meeting. Was it my right to interrupt the meeting?
Yeah.
So what's his problem?
I don't know. But what I think was probably the best to do
No,
is
I'm not. I'm going to ask you to file the complaint because you witnessed it.
I will talk to Sergeant Flory. He's my direct chain of command. So
Okay.
I will talk to Sergeant Flory, and what he does from there, I'm not sure what the procedure is, but I will talk to Sergeant
I
Flory.
would ask
tomorrow.
Sergeant Flory. I would ask you to ask Sergeant Flory to contact me
Okay.
because that was wrong.
Yep.
And I think you know it.
I can't guarantee what Flory does because I don't control Flory, but I will let him know, and I will tell him that you want to be contacted.
You know, everything I said out here, all I did was try to explain something that maybe you guys don't remember from the 80s.
I wasn't alive in the 80s.
Okay,
so.
but did you get some new information just now?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually kind of curious. I'm going to look it up when I get home.
Please do, because it's going to educate you about what's going on in here. But for him to take a situation where a citizen is upset at those three in there for raising our taxes double digits and try to amplify it with a comment like that is a bunch of crap. Ask Sergeant Flory to call me.
I will do that.
Thank you.
Do other commissioners wish to remove anything for further questions or comments? Does anybody in the public wish to remove anything from our consent agenda today for further comment? Sarah, do we have anybody available for Public Works? I'm confident that the commission has read the packet, and we already indicated that we don't have any questions. Just want to know if we have anybody available.
Chad, if you could just provide a brief overview of the project, that'd be great.
Sure. And we're talking about the proposed road project that we requested authorization to solicit bids. Is that correct? With that, I guess, is there anything I'm leaving out, or do you have questions about the proposed project?
Thank you, Chad. Excuse me. Thank you, Chad. This is Commissioner Reed. That was a very thorough overview. I appreciate it, and the context of sort of the current climate for bids. So I appreciate the overview. With that, I'll double check if that raised any questions for commissioners. Okay, seeing no indication of such, I will go ahead and open this up for public comment. Michael, since you pulled this item, you have 3 minutes to provide public comment.
Okay, Chad, I really appreciate the information that you gave. I have no doubt that the program needs to be done, and that's not why I pulled it to speak on it. I pulled it to speak on it because anytime that the public has an option to question where money is coming from in this county, we need to start doing it. Because there are large overruns in savings in the county's bank accounts while our bank accounts get smaller. And that's kind of a problem. And Chad, I appreciate the information. I do want to clarify, are you saying that we're moving ahead under pricing that was priced out in 2020?
Michael, this is an opportunity for you to provide your comments, but it is not a time for back and forth questions. You can
Okay.
put your comments.
So
and
this is where it
questions.
would be better if we treated the consent items like consent items and not like public comment. And if you had the person that pulled the consent item come up here and express his concerns so that Chad would have the opportunity to clarify whether it's actually, was this placed on the schedule several years ago and now we're just now looking at the financial expense of it? That's what I'm saying. If we would run this meeting the way it's supposed to be ran, the people could get the information they need. You guys think I'm here just to harass. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to make this meeting more accessible to the public and more understood for the public. And what I understood there is that we're working ahead on money that we planned to spend 2 years ago up against inflation and all this other stuff, and we haven't done any planning for that. That concerns me. And if projects are taking so long to work their way through, that by the time we're looking at what we're going to spend on the project and the time that it actually gets bid out, that the projects are overrun by 30%, then maybe we need to think about how we're timing these projects out and maybe get the bids a little closer to where the money's being approved or where the money's being contemplated being spent. This is our money you're spending. It's not just play money, monopoly money that you guys get a complete wash of every year. It's our money.
Thank you for your comments. I appreciate the overview, Chad, and appreciate that this is, as with all things, especially in infrastructure planning, you have to do long-term and long-range planning, and you estimate costs based on information that you have
So we
in
were
the
going to do
present
public
time.
comment, but now we got to show
But
why
that
Michael was
it is
wrong.
impossible to know what
You catch that?
the tangible costs will be when that time comes. So I appreciate that this is a priority project.
The little backhanded stuff that you do to citizens, like interrupting what had moved on to public comment to try to show how Michael was just completely off base for coming up here and questioning anything.
I think you outlined well why it is a priority project, and am comfortable moving forward. Any further comments from commissioners before I make a motion?
Are you not going to do any other public comment?
I apologize.
Since you interrupted it.
I apologize for my mistakes. Sometimes I